and countries need to address this gap because a populace which is unable to perceive the benefits of multilateralism, that lose the facility of critical thinking, are easy bait for one-liners, disinformation, misinformation, and propaganda, which may run counter to general peace and stability of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the midst of a global transformation. Still, we must ensure that our international system, however it evolves, remains grounded in the rule of law, the undistorted rule of law, particularly the United Nations Charter, which respects the political independence, territorial integrity, and notional sovereign equality of all states. Evidently, this system has not always functioned well. However, for all its shortcomings, there is no preferable alternative to the rules-based order, especially for the security, prosperity, and survival of smaller states like the Philippines. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you for delivering the third powerful speech of this morning's plenary. I took away 3 sentences of my own by way of conclusion. 1, small power agency is not a derivative of great power rivalry. 2nd, functional frameworks are needed to link the geographically separate. And 3rd, legal and normative gaps are widening, so international law, indeed the rules-based order, needs to be modernized in order to cope with the new technologies that are interrupting our strategic life. Thank you very much. We'll now move to questions and comments from the floor. Remember the 2-stage step, the badge in, the button on. I'll take 8 or 9 and then come back to the panel, and we'll begin with a young leader from Thailand, Surachatri Sriyai.
Thank you, Chair. I have 2 questions, if you would allow. One is for the Secretary and one is for the Thai DPM. Mr. Secretary Teodoro, as promised, I'm asking this question in the big room. So in 6 months or so, the Philippines will become the ASEAN chair. So what will be the top 3 priorities of the Philippines as the ASEAN chair? And how is the Philippines planning to reconcile the subtle but quite evident issue cleavage between the mainland Southeast Asia and the maritime Southeast Asia? For DPM Phumtham, Thailand's long-held doctrine in cultivating partnership is that we can be friends with everyone and everyone wants to be our friend. In the current polarizing geopolitical landscape and also in the middle of superpower competition, do you think that this doctrine is still working well for Thailand's economic and security prospects, given that President Xi's Southeast Asian visit last month did not include Thailand? And the most recent US presidential visit to Thailand was President Obama over a decade ago. ขอบคุณค่ะ.
Thank you very much. And from Japan, Ryo Aizawa.
Thank you very much. So question to all of you about an adversarial cross-regional cooperation. How do you assess and deal with the growing cooperation among Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea? So especially in the case of China, while it emphasizes its commitment to peaceful development or mutual respect or rules-based international order, but in practice, we have seen actions neither peaceful, neither respectful, nor in line with international laws, from supporting to Russia to cutting off key dialogues. So if this type of things continues, wouldn't we have no choice but to see China as aligning with an axis that seeks to change the status quo by force? For instance, China and Russia in a regional crisis. So I'd love to hear your assessment and plans to deal with adversarial cooperation in this region. And please note that, distinguished panels, this question comes from the next generation inheriting this turbulent security environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And another from the next generation, from Malaysia, Fikri Rahman.
Thank you, Chair. This is to Thai's Deputy Prime Minister regarding Myanmar. I think Thai is a very important country to Myanmar. And Myanmar has been a conflict for transnational crime and so many other important issues, right? And I think Thai and China has worked together on the crackdown for the transnational crime. And we have numbers of special envoy from ASEAN, EU, UN, and Japan. So are Thailand exploring a more robust cooperation with countries like China and India on Myanmar and to complement ASEAN 5-point consensus? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And from China, Qi Zhang.
Thank you, Dr. Chipman. My question is for Defense Minister of the Philippines. Recently, the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the Russian-Ukraine war is a proxy war between nuclear powers and needs to be ended. And meanwhile, the United States is selling more arms to this region and setting up more military bases in the Philippines. So, if the proxy war in Europe needs to be ended, are you concerned that a proxy war in Asia might be launched? Thank you.
And also from China, Da Pengqi.
Thank you, moderator. First is a very brief comment. Actually, I really appreciate the viewpoint made by Deputy Prime Minister from Thailand. He said we should push forward cooperation and unity, not the division. So it is inappropriate for the minister from Lithuania to attach a label on China, and it's clear a rhetoric for division here in Asia. And my question is for the Philippine Secretary of Defense. As we know, both Vietnam and Malaysia have differences with China in South China Sea. Yet, both countries have effectively managed these differences with China. So my question is, why can't the Philippines do the same? And yesterday, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar mentioned he advised your president to engage dialogue and communication with China. So will the Philippines follow his advice and change its current approach to the South China Sea issue? Or does the Philippines intend to act as a proxy for external powers, continue to serve as a shadow in the shadow play, as described by Singapore former Defense Minister An Yong-hun at this year's Munich Security Conference? Thank you.
And from the IISS, Viraj Solanki.
Thank you, John. My question is for the Philippine Secretary of National Defense. You talked of the growing number of flexible and issue and needs-based groupings. And in March of this year, the Philippines Armed Forces Chief called for an expansion of the Squad Minilateral Group of the Philippines, US, Japan, and Australia to include India and South Korea. Does the Philippines still have an aim to expand this group to include these two countries or other countries across the Indo-Pacific region? And how do you see the objectives of this minilateral group expanding over time? Thank you.
And from Myanmar, Sumon Sant.
Thank you very much. My question is to DPM Thailand. Do you consider Myanmar military a viable partner to effectively tackle transitional crimes, or do you also consider working with local authorities, given scam centers operate in contested areas, for example?
And next, Bill Emmett.
Thank you, John. To add to the barrage of questions to Defense Minister Teodoro, I wonder if you could, in your answers to all these questions, give your current assessment of progress towards the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea and the degree to which your ASEAN partners are supportive of the Philippines' position and of achieving this long-running and never-ending, seemingly process towards achieving a maritime code of conduct. Mix it, perhaps, with a current snapshot of the pressure, the Chinese pressure that the Philippines is under. We read about it, water cannons and confrontations, but what is happening right now? Do you see it escalating? Is it stabilized? Where is it going? Thank you.
Thank you. And as tactical warning to our panelists, I'll take two more, and then I'll invite them to answer the points made directly to them in the same order in which they spoke, giving a proportionately greater amount of time perhaps to the Minister from the Secretary of Philippines, owing to the amount of questions directed to him. Rangsiman Rome from Thailand.
Thank you. I would like to have a question to the Secretary of National Defense Philippines. First, yes, you will be the chair in the ASEAN next time. So how you see the problem in Myanmar, and how you will continue to find a solution for the situation in Myanmar after Prime Minister Anwar. Second, how you see the role of ASEAN for the problem in the South China Sea, how ASEAN can engage with the problem, how we try to find a solution for the South China Sea by the ASEAN platform. And the last, do you see any links between the problem in Myanmar and the problem in South China Sea? Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, before we return to the panel, and we will try another set, Ben Trier.
Thank you, John. Two questions. One question to Secretary Teodoro. Secretary, there has been increased defense cooperation between the Philippines and European countries recently. Do you like to see even more European defense engagement with your country? And if so, in which areas? And to Minister Sakhalin, congratulations on the new Indo-Pacific strategy. Do you also see practical potential for defense industrial cooperation with Indo-Pacific powers? And if so, which capability areas might be the most promising? Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll start with the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Defense of Thailand. There really were basically two questions.
The vision. We sincerely hope that what had happened, Myanmar has been refused by numbers of countries, and we do understand on the reason from the inappropriate treatment and inequality among the people. But for Thailand, as an immediate neighbor, Thailand stance is quite different from others. Your action has a very few impact upon your relations with Myanmar, including the humanitarian issue. But for Thailand, as I mentioned, we, as an immediate neighbor, we try to find the common ground. We try to provide the best support for humanitarian. We sincerely hope to see democracy in Myanmar, but the dispute and conflict among the minorities and ethnic groups in Myanmar, we are trying our best to become the linkage and mediator among them so they can have a fruitful discussion and peaceful resolution. And we are trying to be the bridge to build the gap between the military and the ethnic groups. That is the basic fundamental. We sincerely hope that this will be accomplished. But the first step should be the discussion. During the earthquake in Myanmar, we have sent humanitarian assistance to them. We try to become the loudspeaker for others to listen to Myanmar as well. And we have a firm stand that we do believe a good start of communication will help leading to a durable resolution in Myanmar.
We're able to deal with Myanmar's military on questions of transnational crimes, or might you prefer to work with local authorities given the scam centers operating in contested areas?
ก็เราได้เริ่มต้น
We have started tackling this problem of online scammer, a transnational crime which cannot be settled by any single country alone. But we do need the collective effort because it is considered to be a global issue. We are just a transit nation. We do prioritize in tackling this issue by coordinating with all relevant parties, especially the People's Republic of China, who also has a direct effect on this. And we have a very thorough discussion with embassies, ambassadors of the concerned country. And in practice, some countries who cannot direct communication with Myanmar and internet supply, which has directly impact on the online scammer, but undoubtedly affect the local people in the area. But it will help us reduce the problem of online scammer and transnational crime and fraudulent. What we have to do is we can help evacuate victims from that place and deporting them to their country of origins. And we will ask the country of origin to take those nationalities back to their country of origins. Not only in Southeast Asia, East Asia, and even from Africa. They are all involved in this transnational crime. But Thailand do have strict measures in some occasion that we can successfully solve the online scammer and transnational crime and reduce the number of the activity, but it is not ending.
What needs to be done? So first of all, sending what needs to be done. So first of all, sending a very clear message that we are not going to tolerate behavior that already tries to break down the international order, and it is in the process.